Hello, and you're all welcome to the Ultimate E-Commerce Masterclass. My name is Anisha, and I'm going to be your MC for today. This is the Festive Immersion Masterclass, where you learn about how do we maximize conversions during the festive season. We'll talk about which platform should we capitalize more when we are strategizing on the festive strategies, and we'll also provide you a cheat sheet at the end of the session, which will help you touch base on Adyogi best practices and some of the case studies that will help you understand the festive marketing strategies. Before we start off, I'd like to introduce you all to the panelists for today. We have Anshuk Agarwal, our CEO and co-founder of Adyogi. We have Khushbu Agarwal, Senior Digital Marketing Associate at Adyogi. We have Ayush Param, Senior Digital Marketing Associate at Adyogi. Before we start off, we would like to know all of you here. So if you're a small business owner, if you're an enterprise business owner, feel free to mention your website link in the chat box below. Feel free to also plug in your Instagram handles. We'd love to see all your products. We'll start off in a bit. Before we start off, we would also be launching a poll of questions for you all. So on your screens right now, you'd be seeing a poll of questions. These poll of questions would help us understand your requirements from the webinar better. So, we'll close this poll in 2 minutes. Correct. So now that we have recorded your polls on our Zoom poll link, we would now get started without further ado. Our first speaker would, of course, be Anshuk Agarwal, CEO and co-founder of Adyogi. Over to you, Anshuk.
Thanks, Anisha. Hi, everyone. Very happy to be a part of this webinar. I think we are in the middle of the festive season, and we have seen that festive season typically brings a lot of joy to e-commerce brands. I'm sure many of you would have heard of those sales which Amazon and Myntra were doing over the last couple of weeks. So very happy to talk about today about how do you scale your DTC brand, especially from a festive point of view. My name is Anshuk. I've been working on Adyogi for the last 7 years. We have collectively worked with around 300 plus brands. And today I'll be sharing some of the insights which we have gathered in our journey working with 300 plus brands. So let's start. So this is what you will expect to get by the end of this session. You will expect to know that how do you scale your brand during the festive season. And I'll also be sharing some festive hacks which you can adopt across your campaigns, ad sets, and ads. And like Anisha mentioned, we'll also send across a festive hack document. And we'll also be sharing a recording of this webinar in case you want to refer to some of these hacks later on. So very quickly, I know many of you are running your own ads, which is what the poll question also told us. So I'm sure some of you must be facing these challenges, right? And this is, I just want to let you know that you are not the only one. I speak to many founders of DTC brands, and almost all of them face these challenges, right? That your cost of ads is going up during the festive season. You get a lot of traffic, but you're not able to convert them. You also get good returns, but when you try to scale during festive season, your profitability drops. Also, I think there is this whole concern about marketplaces launching those big billion days, and how do you fend off, or how do you survive in those sale period, right? So these are challenges I often hear founders when I talk to them, and I'll try to address some of these at least as part of my talk today. So before we start, just to give you a little bit of a carrot, I would say, I think one question which all of us ask ourselves is, can really a brand scale during festive season? And the answer is an absolutely yes, right? And I'm talking about a brand called CAF, which we work with, and they have scaled phenomenally over the last 3 months, right? They almost scaled their business by around 7x or 8x, and especially banking on top of the festive season. So brands do scale during the festive season. the question is, what are those strategies, right? So moving on, let me just go to the next slide. So this is going to be the anchor slide for today, and I'll try to like make it very simple so that you can take away from this webinar. So these are the 3 key pointers which I think anybody who is doing digital ads during the festive season has to answer, right? The first is which campaigns or which platforms should you be advertising during the festive season? Second is, who should you be targeting during the festive season? What are those interest groups which work really well? And the most important of these is, what should your ad copy contain, right? Do you call up, how do you design your ad copy? What all should it contain? Keeping in mind those Diwali, Dashera, Karwa Chauth period, which is just about to come. So let's jump into each of them. The first one is, which campaigns and platforms should you focus on, right? And the answer is very simple here. You have to diversify away from a single platform. When I talk to many founders, I find that around 60 to 80% of their spends across their digital marketing goes on Facebook and Instagram, which is great, but too much reliance on Facebook can actually backfire during the festive season, purely because Facebook becomes a very expensive channel. We have seen CPM, which is cost of 1,000 impressions on Facebook, sometimes go as high as 30, 40, 50% higher than non-festive times. So highly recommend that you diversify your spends out of Facebook, and also consider YouTube and Google as alternative channels. And to give you an example, we work with Indian Wedding Saree. They did something similar, and they were able to reduce their cost of clicks by up to 20% just by diversifying the spends away from Facebook. Now, when we talk about Google, right, it's extremely important to understand that Google is not a single platform, right? Google should be looked upon as a combination of 4 platforms. And as you can see on the screen, we are talking about search, shopping, display, and YouTube, right? And these are 4 different platforms. Each of them works very differently in terms of the targeting, in terms of the kind of people it gets on your website, in terms of the kind of performance it gives you. So first and foremost, start thinking about Google as 4 different platforms, and start having a separate campaign or a strategy for each 4 of them, right? Each one of them. So I'll tell you about, I'll jump into each one of them one by one, right? Now, within these 4, I know Google has like a ton of options, what to create, what not to create. But if you're a DTC brand today, I would highly recommend you to focus on these 3, right? One is your smart shopping. The second is your discovery, which is a part of display. And the third is your TrueView for action, which is a part of your YouTube, right? So these are the 3 ones which I'll be talking about today. And for a DTC brand, pretty much these 3 will cover your Google spends, other than maybe a brand search campaign. So shopping ads, right? So one hack of festive time is definitely run smart shopping campaigns. And the reason this is important is because during festive season, a lot of people start searching on Google, right? People want to buy festive clothes, people want to buy sarees, people want to buy suits and dresses. So we have seen that the search query on Google goes up, and which is why if you're a brand today, marketing during festive, make sure you run your smart shopping campaigns. One key important thing is smart shopping campaigns depends a lot on the quality of your catalog. So make sure that the catalog you upload on the Merchant Center contains detailed titles and descriptions and categories of your products. The better the quality of the catalog, the better your smart shopping campaigns will perform. Now, second on Google is discovery ads. Now, I know many of you may not have heard about Discovery. Discovery is a relatively new product of Google. It was launched by Google only in the last 12 months. And think of Discovery as feed ads on YouTube. Just like when you scroll Facebook and you see those nice carousel ads, similarly, when you scroll on YouTube, you see these Discovery ads. So Discovery ads are in a way an alternative to your Facebook ads, less known, which is why the CPC and CPM on Discovery ads are significantly lower. So highly recommend you to run Discovery ads. You can pick up your standard carousel creatives which you're running on Facebook or newsfeed creatives and push them on Discovery. And some of the best practices in terms of adding price, in terms of landing people on the product page, are also applicable on discovery ads, just like they are applicable on Facebook ads. And third, on Google, which is very critical from a festive point of view or even otherwise, is capturing YouTube. Now, we have seen that post-pandemic, or let's say post the first and second waves of COVID, the volume of traffic on YouTube has really gone up. So you are now able to get a huge volume of impressions and clicks from YouTube, and the cost of clicks on YouTube is significantly lower than the cost of clicks on Facebook. So during the festive season, make the most of your YouTube ads. Spend a significant portion, I would say 10 to 20% of your ad spends on YouTube, and make sure that you can run proportionately higher spends on your Facebook remarketing campaign. So YouTube plus Facebook remarketing actually works better in the festive season, purely because you get lower cost of clicks compared to what Facebook can give you. And so this is all about what do you do in terms of diversifying away from Facebook. So I spoke about those 3 Google campaigns which you should be running. On Facebook, I would recommend you to continue running your conversion campaigns. Conversion campaigns are the campaigns which perform the best. Do not really focus a lot on traffic or engagement or awareness or reach campaigns on Facebook. We have usually seen that the quality of audience coming from those campaigns is not great. If you really want to do top of the funnel campaigns, then I would recommend you to do top of the funnel campaigns on Google, which is YouTube and Discovery, and not on Facebook. Facebook is great from their conversions and catalog sales campaigns. So we spoke about which campaigns to create, and we also spoke about which platforms should you be leveraging. Now, the next question which I think comes to our mind is, who should we be targeting during the festive season, or even otherwise in general? How do I decide whom to target my ads to, which is the ad set or the ad group in the language of Facebook and Google? So a few pointers which we have seen work quite well. On Facebook, there is an option of targeting competing brands. So this is, I would say, highly recommended. So if you, let's say, for example, if you're a woman fashion brand in the Western category, then maybe you want to target a competing brand like H&M, right? Similarly, in the men, you might want to target something like a Louis Philippe. So typically, big brands on Facebook are actually interest groups, are also interest groups on Facebook. So you can identify your top 10, 20, 30 competitors and target their fans or people who have shown interest in those brands in your targeting ad sets. So this is one strategy which a lot of people miss out on, and we have usually seen that it works really well. Other than that, generally at an ad set level, we recommend using broader demographics, which is 18 to 65 age. And also we recommend to turn on the detailed targeting expansion, because what we have usually seen is too narrow ad sets usually don't perform very well. It's good to have broader ad sets, but do conversion optimization on top of it. Now, similar to what we just spoke about on Facebook, there is a very interesting targeting option on Google, and many of you may not be aware of it. So Google actually lets you target people on YouTube and Discovery based on what they searched on google.com. So effectively, whenever somebody is searching something on google.com, Google creates something called custom intent targeting. So these are people who have searched related keywords in the past. This is a very, very impactful targeting option. So if you're not using custom intent targeting, I would highly recommend you to use custom intent targeting. What you can do is you can find out relevant keywords using the keyword planner and put them in your custom intent ad sets. Like, for example, I've shown this custom intent targeting. We have put keywords like green powder. We have put keywords like superfood powder. And anybody who has searched on any of these related keywords in the past will get targeted on YouTube and Discovery. So make sure that you put in these keywords. You can also add some flavor based on what people will be searching during the festive season. So let's say, for example, if you're a brand selling sarees, then make sure you create a custom intent targeting on YouTube with saree as a keyword. Because as the volume of saree searches go up, your custom intent targeting audience will also increase. The next on targeting is remarketing. Now, I'll tell you why remarketing becomes super important during the festive season. So let's say, for example, you have been in business for the last couple of years and you have been running Facebook and Google ads. So you would have a sizable set of people who have come to your website in the last 6 months, maybe let's say a few lakh people. You would also have a good chunk of people who have added products to cart but never purchased. Festive is the best time to bring them back, right? These are people who are already comfortable with your brand, who have heard about our brand in the past, and this is the time when you really want to convert them into your customers. Think of them as these fringe sitters who are just following your brand but have never purchased from you. So make sure you run a specific campaign targeting these people. You can also give them some festive specific discounts, and this will help you convert your funnel audience into customers in an accelerated manner. You can also do one more thing. You can also upload your email IDs and phone numbers from your CRM database. This is possible both on Facebook and Google Display Network, and target these people. These emails and phone numbers need not be of your customers alone. These could be people who are your add to cart audience, people who have walked into your physical stores, people who have subscribed to your newsletters. So all this audience can be uploaded on Facebook and Google, and you can push out specific campaign to target them. Just to extend that thought, many of us just think about targeting people who have engaged with us on the website. What you should also understand is you can also target people who have engaged with your brand on social pages. So you can target people who have liked your Facebook page, liked your Instagram page, engaged with your YouTube audience, maybe commented on one of your Facebook posts. So all these are available as audiences on Facebook and YouTube, and you can also target them during the festive season. So make sure that when you are really going out in the festive season to acquire more customers, do not forget people who already are familiar with your brand. Those should be your top of the mind people whom you want them to convert. So we spoke about which platforms, we spoke about what campaigns, we also discussed which targeting options to focus on. But the most important of all this is what should you show in your ad copy? And I feel this is one area where the maximum change happens. Your campaigns might look similar, festive, non-festive. Your platforms might look similar, festive, not festive, but your ad copies have to look different, right? That's what the customers finally see on these platforms. So I'll talk about around 5-6 key differences in what your ad copy should look like. And this will give you some sense about what works really well during festive season. So the first one is you make your ad copy look like a festive one, right? And this is a brand called Heritage Foods. We've been running their campaigns in the US, and this is something which they ran in Christmas last year. So they added a fine ribbon on top of every image, which gives you that Christmas feel, and instantly you're able to recognize that something is different, right? The purpose of this border is not really anything but just to catch attention. Imagine I'm just scrolling the feed and one day suddenly I see this nice border which looks like a Christmas one or a Diwali one. It catches user attention. People are more likely to stop and pay attention to it. So do make sure that your ad copy has some small festive feel. You can add some diyas for Diwali. You can add, let's say, for example, colors when you are talking about Holi. So a lot of those options are there. Few hygiene things. If you're running some discount, make sure you have a strike-through pricing. You have to tell your customers what was the original price and what is the discounted price. Your ad copy should contain price of the product. You should land people on the product page. And more importantly, try to have shop now as the call to action button, because you want people to come to your website and make a purchase. You're not looking at just driving traffic without getting those purchases. So have a shop now button, have a price, have a nice festive overlay. These are some of the hygienes which you should be doing more so during the festive season. Second point is, I know we get very creative in terms of our discounting strategy during festive, which is very good. But I would still recommend to avoid getting to the side of having a clickbait sort of a thing. The reason this is important is when you have clickbait ad copies, it ends up getting a lot of traffic, but we have seen that the conversion rates go down. So this is the one ad copy which I'll talk about. It spoke about a minimum 40% off. Now, minimum 40% off is a very, very exciting value prop. But the challenge is when you run a minimum 40% off, people come with that expectation. People come with the expectation of 50, 60, 70% off, right? And it becomes very, very hard to meet that expectations. If you come with an 80% off expectation and you get a 40% off, you're going to be disappointed. So make sure you set the expectations correctly. You don't overcommit in your ad copies. Your ad copies don't act like a clickbait, right? A few other things in terms of discounting, that if you're running a 20, 30, 40% discount and you have a coupon code for it, make sure you put the coupon code on the website in the top banner, which is very important. I would also recommend that when you are running ad campaigns and you have some discount coupons, you can name them like Diwali 20 or Dashara 20, just to make people feel that this is a specific discount for festive season. You can also call it as festive 20, right? So as much as possible, make them feel special, make them feel that this is a discount only for festival, and create some sort of an urgency that if you don't take this discount right now, you will not get it 2 months down the line. Now, this is again very important from a performance marketing perspective. I've seen a lot of brands during festive season do brand marketing, which means they start promoting their brand and they start making people land on the homepage of the brand. Usually, it's not a great practice because there is a simple rule of thumb, which is lesser the clicks to conversion, higher the conversion rate. So as much as possible, try to land people on the product page, try to land people on the category page, maybe in some cases, but definitely not on the home page. In the product page, it's very simple. You land on the product page, you click on add to cart, you go to checkout, and you make the purchase. So to the extent possible, focus on product level creatives which land on the product page. You can still run a little bit of a sale campaign, 10, 20, 30% landing on the category page, but avoid those homepage banners and avoid those homepage traffic. The conversion rates of people who land on the homepage is usually on the lower side. Now, we spoke about CPMs being higher, which is cost of 1,000 impressions. We have usually seen that one way to circumvent that is to focus more on video creatives. Video creatives tend to have higher, better engagements, and Facebook generally gives a little bit of benefit of doubt to video creators by giving it slightly lower CPMs. So if you're facing higher cost of ads during festive season, try to run video creators. When I say video, I'm not talking about those celebrity videos always. I know it's very hard to create those celebrity video content. What I'm talking about is plain and simple user generated video. It could be a testimonial. It could be a customer of yours. It could be a TikTok style video where you've probably taken a camera and shot it in your office itself. So you don't need a fancy studio to create videos. You can actually do it in your office. You can do it yourself. So it could be completely free of cost also. So just go a little creative on videos. Don't think that videos require a lot of money to create or you need a proper studio and camera to create videos. These days, phone cameras are great. In the selfie mode, you can just create some nice videos. Now, this is one of the most important points I would say if you are in the festive season is try to bundle your products. Typically, people in festive season are more likely to purchase higher value products, which means that if you're probably selling one t-shirt, one mug, or let's say, for example, one Avenger t-shirt, right? Try to bundle them and make them into festive combos. Now, take the example of Entertainment Store. This is exactly what they did. They said that they will create a nice bundle of few mugs and few t-shirts and call it as an Avengers fan bundle. And they priced that product at around $9.99 or let's say $14.99. And the entire festive campaign was around selling these festive combos. This works well because of two reasons. Number one, your average order value goes up. Okay. Number two, people in general in festive season are more likely to purchase higher AOV products. So they would be more happy to purchase a 1200, 1500, 2000 rupee product. So try to push up your average order value during the festive seasons. You can do bundling, like I said. You can also roll out such offers like buy two, get one, or buy two, get 20% off. Again, a way of just capturing that higher intent and higher ability to pay. Now, this is similar to what I spoke about in the last slide. Last slide spoke about how do you bundle products. This is just talking about that you have to be very cautious on what do you advertise during the festive season, right? And you don't probably want to advertise all your products. More specifically, you may not want to advertise your low AOV products. So I'm talking about a brand called Home Utensils. They're running these ads in Saudi Arabia. And what they figured out was during the festive season, they would want to advertise higher AOV products like their coffee maker or their electric oven. And they don't want to advertise those smaller SKUs like your bedroom bulbs and wall sockets. So figure out which products you want to advertise and just focus your marketing budget on those products. Also, because festive season comes with higher costs of advertising. So you want to make sure that you use those higher costs only for your expensive products or only for your higher range products. So that brings me to the sort of an end of my presentation. I hope I was able to give you some flavor. What I'll do is I'll summarize some of the festive hacks we spoke about today. You can take a screenshot of this. Of course, Anisha will also be sharing a festive hack document. So just to summarize, number one, diversify spends. Number two, run shopping ads, run YouTube ads, run discovery ads. Then we spoke about festive specific overlays, very important to catch user attention. Avoid clickbait in your ad messages. Focus on product specific ads, landing people on the product page. Video creatives to lower your CPMs. YouTube ads we spoke about. Festive combos to increase your average order value. Filtering products to show only those products which are your higher range products. And we also spoke about using remarketing audiences, uploading email IDs, uploading phone numbers to target them and make them convert. So that's about the festive hack. We have a very nice panel discussion now, but before we move to the panel discussion, very quickly about Adyogi. Adyogi is an enterprise SaaS platform. We work with around 250 plus e-commerce brands. The way it works is we connect to your CRM database like Shopify, Magento, WooCommerce. We pull all products, analytics from them, and then we let you create ads, targeting options with the click of a button on Facebook, Google, Amazon, Instagram. We also have very detailed reporting in the Adyogi panel, which shows you funnel analytics and attribution analytics to help you take the right database decisions. A glimpse of the brands we work with. We work with some of the top brands in apparel, footwear, accessories. We also work with some big names in the CPG industry. So that's a little bit about Adyogi. And over to you, Anisha, to take the session further.
Got it. Thanks, Anshuk. That was so detailed, and we are so convinced as to how do we strategize during our festive season. Next up, we have a question and answer round where we're going to open the room for question answers for all the attendees. So feel free to pitch in whatever questions you have in the chat box below. And we're going to start off. We already have a few questions, so we're going to start off with the questions now. I'll be starting off with one of the questions that was directed to Anshuk. So Anshuk, during the festive season, the volume of orders is high. What approach can be followed to reduce RTO? Generally, we call our customers to confirm the order, but due to the number of orders we are short at time, we don't want to delay the dispatch. Let me know if I should repeat that.
No, absolutely. I think that's a very, very important problem which a lot of e-commerce brands face, especially during the festive season. So a few things which can be done to lower RTOs. One, of course, like you mentioned, that calling the customer and asking them about whether they want to accept the order and just confirming the order. But apart from that, a couple of other things can be done. One, you can in general think about incentivizing the online purchasers. So if there are people making online payment, maybe give them a 5-10% extra discount. Just by doing that, you will be able to increase the share of your online purchases. And when you increase the share of your online purchases, generally we have seen that the RTO percentage goes down. Okay. Second, I would say that RTO has a very big relation with delivery timeline. Okay. I came across a statistic with every 1 day delay in delivery, the RTO percentage can go up by as high as 8%. So I would recommend that re-look at your delivery timelines. If you are probably doing like a 5-day delivery or a 4-day delivery, you might want to talk to your service provider and ask them if they can give you a faster delivery. During the festive season, there's also an urgency. You probably want to wear that dress on Dashera or Diwali. So you don't want to wait. You want it to get in advance, right? You don't want that your dress comes after the festive. And if the dress comes after the festive, then you are more or less certain it's going to be an RTO. So you might as well deliver them on time. The third, I would say there are tools in the market today, okay, which do this end-to-end customer communication, okay, which means that the moment they get an order, they get an SMS, they get a WhatsApp. The moment the order is dispatched, they get another notification. If the order is about to reach them, just like what Amazon does, right? So the more informed you keep the customer, the less likely they are going to do the RTO eventually. So use these tools to make sure that the customers, there are no surprises. They know that, look, I'm going to get my dress on Thursday, right? So these are the three which come on top of my mind.
Awesome. Thanks, Anshuk. We have one more question here. We have a very small brand. How do we compete with larger brands in our space and with marketplaces such as Amazon and Flipkart? How does Google help? Ayush, would you want to volunteer for it?
Of course. Yeah. Highlight your unique selling proposition. And by that, I mean define what your brand offers that the customer wants that no other brand offers in that space. Yeah. And this can be something really simple also. Discount ranges that are more than competitive, the unique cashback offers, the quality of the product range that you offer. You could say 100+ styles, or we offer this colossal range of shoes or footwear from this category to this category, men, women, shoes for children, etc. I'm using shoes as an example because it's the best way to get the idea of a range across. You can leverage extensions on Google in order to do this, site link extensions and promotional extensions. We also have call out extensions which are designed specifically to highlight the unique selling proposition. Make sure to run remarketing campaigns. Now, if you're running smart shopping, then remarketing is partly taken care of there. But otherwise, also you can run discovery remarketing campaigns for apparel brands and YouTube remarketing campaigns for non-apparel brands. Also, this is not related to Google specifically, but make sure that there's testimonials on your site from customers who've purchased and who love the product, video, text, etc. It's more likely to lead to higher conversion rates.
Awesome. Thanks, Ayush. We have a question for Khushbu here. What type of ads should new businesses run? We have no previous data to analyze and monitor. Broad or targeted ads, which platform should I start focusing on?
So if you're starting an ad during the festive season right now, what I would recommend is starting in both at least Facebook and Google. This way, Facebook can help you reach the richer audience as well as Google will help you drive high intent traffic to your website. And in terms of ads, it's always better to have your product USPs in the ad itself, so that relative or you have a more efficient targeting. People who know what they want can see at your product, recognize your product USPs, and then only the people who will actually buy or have the intent to buy a product will land on your website. I hope that helps.
Awesome. Thanks, Khushbu. One question for Anshuk here is, Is it a good practice to start with just one platform, or should we go bang on all platforms like Snapchat, Pinterest, etc.? A part of it was already answered by Khushbu, but Anshu, do you want to add to it?
Absolutely. So, see, what we have seen is 80 to 90% sales for any e-commerce brand today, whether it's a new brand or a very large brand like maybe Aurelia or W for Women, comes from your top 2, 3 platforms, right? Which is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Google. By Google, I mean search and shopping both, right? So this takes care of 80, 90% sales, even for very, very large brands. So as a new brand, I would not recommend going beyond these 5, okay? Because just getting these 4 or 5 platforms right itself is going to take a lot of effort. It doesn't make sense for you to start thinking about Snapchat or TikTok or let's say Bing ads. You might end up spreading yourselves very thin. So just focus on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Google till you probably get to like 100 orders a day mark at least. And post that, if you want, you can probably diversify again. Outside, you can think about affiliate marketing, you can think about Snapchat, TikTok, but all of it should come only after 100 orders a day at least.
Got it. Understood. There is one more question here, which says, we perform well at low spends, but when we try to scale, ROAS falls. How do we scale while maintaining the ROAS? Any of you could take that up.
I'll go first, then Khushbu can say if she has any specifically. Okay. Now, this is the case very often when you're on Google and you're running smart shopping campaigns. We face this problem constantly. And one thing that is a common mistake that is made by our clients before they come on is to set the target ROAS that is their business goal or that they would like to have. Yeah, this is something that is best if you avoid. Set a target ROAS that's the bare minimum that you want to achieve. Yeah, meaning if your break even is 3x, say, set the target ROAS as 3x, because the target ROAS you're saying to Google is the bare minimum we need. And it has been our experience that if we set lower target ROASes, Google sets the actual ROAS that we get tends to be higher if the ROAS is low. Yeah, and this can really aid in terms of getting initial spends fairly well. And also starting individual smart shopping campaigns based on performing product groups. This is another thing we do. And if you're not able to scale smart shopping, or if for some reason you don't want to reduce the bid, starting discovery campaigns or for prospecting and remarketing purposes can be a great way to scale, especially if you're keeping the budgets low. Prospecting target custom intent audiences, as was mentioned earlier, specific search terms that we can pull data off of analytics and off of other tools that can show that people want to purchase from your site. Yeah, we can check landing page and query URLs and the like. So we can create custom intent audiences, target on that basis. And of course, we run remarketing efforts as mentioned earlier. And so that's one way.
Yeah, that answers our question. We have a question here, which says, it's from Nivani Hurai. It says, we are selling perfumes and have festive themes on the artwork, but we are targeting luxury buyers, lovers, etc. The audience is diminishing every 4th day. We have chat-based ordering. How can we have the best audience for designing international perfumes?
So what we can do in this scenario is, while creating an audience along with your luxury buyers or something, you can maybe add some behaviors also, because interest groups definitely does well for you. But if you add some behavior element to it, then you know that in the past, this is what they go for, or this is how that particular human with that particular interest group behaves. So adding that, along with that, you need to check your audience size. Like, having too narrow of an audience is also gonna diminish or exhaust your audience very frequently during this festive season. So what you can do is target a broader audience, but add some narrow, maybe if you're running some discounts, and maybe you can add luxury buyers, but also people who are interested in discounts. Or if you're giving a free product, then you can add that kind of behavior along with your interest groups, which can help you enhance your quality of your audience.
I'll also like to add something to it.
Sure.
So there is also an option of lookalike audiences. So you can also create a list of people who have probably either interacted with you over chat in the last 6 months, or have ordered with you, or have, let's say, added products to cart. And you can do that using the pixel data on Facebook, and then create a lookalike of these people. The benefit of lookalike is usually a bigger audience. Like if you're targeting in India, then a 1% lookalike also will be 2 million people. So you don't necessarily need to go only with a, I would say, interest-based audience. You can also go with a lookalike. The third thing which I will say is a lot of targeting on Facebook happens using conversion optimization, right? So by that, I mean that Facebook has an algorithm of its own to figure out of those 5 million people whom to show ads, whom not to show ads. So you can also think about going a little broad in your targeting, which means maybe as broad as doing demographic targeting, and allow Facebook to do conversion optimization and figure out who are the people who are most likely to respond to your ads. Effectively saying that even if your target audience is, let's say, 5 million people, doesn't mean Facebook shows ads to all 5 million. Facebook will probably show ads to the top 5-10% of those who are most likely to convert. So sometimes overtly narrowing the audience doesn't help. Using broad audience with conversion optimization actually works better. Over to you, Anisha.
Got it. Thanks, Anshul. That answers that question. We have this question regarding health and wellness segment. The question is, I sell health and wellness products online. What should my ads consist of?
Anshu, do you want to take this question, or should I go ahead?
Please go ahead, Khushbu. I can add based on your response.
Sure, I think that works. So a lot with health and wellness, what we've seen is single images and carousels don't really do that well. Carousel also like multi-product carousels. So if you're having a single product carousel, maybe you can have 10 or 5 cards, like 5 to 10 cards, where you can like first have the image of the product, and then the rest of the cards can show your product USPs. Like I'm highlighting it again. Adding the product USPs in the creatives is very, very important. If you're especially like apparel brands can get away with it, they still don't have to add a lot of USPs in the creatives. But for other brands like beauty or health and wellness, or even any sports brands, are also, you need to stand out from all your competitors. You need to communicate to your customers that why they should basically buy your particular product. Why is your product better than your competitor's product? So I think creating single product carousels in case you can't use videos, and in fact using videos like user generated content where your customers are talking about your product, or maybe you can have how to use your product, because usually a lot of health and wellness products comes with a lot of directions on how they should actually be used or consumed. So having a video around that would be helpful, along with testimonials. And if you're not able to do this, like with new brands, it's very difficult to invest in a lot of video content. So in that case, what you can do is you can maybe make animated videos, because videos are usually more engaging and tend to have a lower CPM. So I think multi-product, single product carousels along with videos should do the trick for health and wellness plans. Anshul, do you have anything to add to that?
I think Khushbu, you covered almost everything. I'll just add one line that for health, wellness, beauty, try to make sure that as much as possible, 70 to 80 to 90% of your budget is going into video creators. Health, wellness, beauty is not, image creators really don't work out for this industry.
Right. Amir Ahmed asks, could you please suggest percentage of budget to be split between Facebook, IG, and Google Ads?
So I can take this up. I think this split depends on industry to industry. So if you are selling apparel is very impulse category, then I would say that around 70 to 80% on Facebook, Instagram, which could be evenly divided 35-35, and the balance 20% on Google, which could be between, let's say, smart shopping and a little bit on YouTube. Okay. But if you're selling health, wellness, beauty, consumer products, FMCG products, then I would say that 50 to 60% on Facebook, Instagram at max. Okay. And the balance 40 to 50% on Google. Again, Facebook, Instagram can be evenly split 25-25. Google, I would suggest to put higher on YouTube and Discovery, maybe 20-30%, and balance 20% on smart shopping. So effectively, 80-20 for apparel, like I said, and 50-50 for a consumer between Facebook and Google.
Thanks, Anshul. That answers our question. Ashish Garg asks, I have a cricket brand and I'm really confused regarding the ad creatives for Facebook ads. Should I go forward with normal product photos or should I do something else? Khushbu, would you want to take that up?
Sure. So for cricket brand again, like there are a lot of other cricket sports brands also. So it's better, if you're showing like what kind of cricket bats those are, maybe the wood it's kind of made or the slope or, again, product USPs, you can add it there. Also, I think single images and also slideshows can do the trick for you. Like carousels and all will actually create a different videos, create single images or booklets of it. So maybe you can create a carousel of it or animated video, a show, user generated content. I think that should help you with your cricket, your sports based products.
Right. Thanks, Khushbu. That answers the question. We have one last question. It is, we as a business have tried all permutations and combinations of audiences and different categories. We found out our champion products, and for a while it was working all fine. We used to run the champion categories or products regularly and at the same time test new categories. But lately nothing is working, not even our champion product or categories. Would you share any thought on this? Anshu, would you want to take that up? Or Ayush, would you want to take that up?
I think I can add a couple of lines there, and maybe Ayush might be able to add his experience on Google. What I would suggest here is the first thing which you should think about is, where does the problem lie, right? Is it that you're not able to drive enough traffic from Facebook and Google to your website, or is it that you're able to drive and they are not converting, right? So that would be the first thing I would suggest. Figure out where is the root cause, right? Is it on the platform side or is it on the website side? Once you have identified the root cause, you can also compare, like say, what was happening 3 months ago to what is happening now. Okay. Once you're able to do that, the second step would be, if website is the issue, let's say your conversion rates have gone down on the website, then I would suggest that follow the best practices on the website, which is very simple, that the flow of e-commerce should be very streamlined. There should be add to cart, checkout, purchase. In most cases, you should have COD enabled. You should have similar products on the website. So all those website best practices have to be followed. If the challenge you feel is on the Facebook and the Google side, then I would suggest that number one, make sure you have a healthy split of budget between Facebook, Google. Like I said, 60-40 for FMCG. Second, make sure on Google you are running smart shopping and your merchant center feed is correctly set up. You have your catalog quality correctly done. On Facebook, you are running your conversion campaigns. One recommendation there is, generally, it's good to have different campaigns for different categories. Because you spoke about different categories, try to have 4 or 5 different conversion campaigns for each of your categories, to figure out, is it all the categories which are not performing, or is it one of the categories which is not performing? So having a category wise campaigns on Facebook can also help. Those are some of my thoughts. Ayush, would you like to add something to this?
Absolutely. The question was about trying every permutation and combination of audiences. I think the methodology of how people select audiences needs to be looked at a little more closely. There's a tendency that brands tend to have, which is to just pick the, for example, for an in-market audience, to just pick the audience that corresponds to the industry. For example, if they're selling food and drink, they just pick the in-market audience, food and drink, and try to run it, or they try to pick smaller, more granular points to get that to work. And the problem with this approach is it can work sometimes, but the audience is so huge and so intuitive that many people are targeting the same thing. So trying to get the conversions off of that can be an issue. One strategy that you could employ is to look at your Google Analytics and determine from there which audiences you should be picking in terms of raw volumes or in terms of the proportion of audience, even proportion of the audience, even in small audiences that are converting. This is especially useful for a smaller brand that doesn't want to spend a lot of money in terms of speculation or prospecting. Targeting smaller audiences with a higher proportion of conversion rate. So it's not just a question of trying permutations and combinations of audiences. It's also a question of broadening your idea of the methodology of how you pick the audiences in the first place. Yeah. So it's a broader way of thinking about things. That's my answer.
Thanks, Ayush. Thanks, Ayush. That really answers our question. Thanks, Anshu, as well. There's one very interesting question that has come up. It is from the beauty industry. The question is, I kind of lost the question.
You might be able to see it in the answered section, Nisha.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so we have already addressed it. With beauty products, does bundle works or single product ads? Also, what's the CAC for beauty products? I think Anshuk has already taken that up. If anybody wants to add more pointers to it.
Not really. I think Anshuk's already covered most of the points for the beauty brand. But I do think since the AOV tends to be a little lower on the beauty products, we can bundle up some of your top selling products or some top selling categories. Suppose if you have eye palettes and everything, then you can maybe have a bundle of what it goes best with, the primer or the concealer that it goes best with. Maybe you can bundle all of them and call it one complete look. That can help you improve AOV and improve your returns on your products. Over to you,
Got it.
Anisha.
Got it. Thanks, Khushbu. I think with that, we've come to an end of the question and answer round. Before we close, thanks to all the attendees over here for sitting patiently with us. And since you sat patiently with us, we have a mini surprise for you. So on your screens right now will reflect a small offer from us at Adobe to you. Here's a special offer for all of you. We are offering flat 15% off on Adobe for enterprises. We are offering flat 50% off on Adobe for startups. To avail the offer, you can connect with us on www.adobe.com. Apart from that, thank you so much for sitting patiently with us. It was lovely hosting all of you. Thank you and a very good day to you. Once again, my name is Anisha.
Thank you so much, everyone, and wish you all the best. Have a great festive season ahead. A happy Dashera in advance.
Thank you, everyone.